lay out for us why this is such an unusual situation that we're in.
Because Durant has 4 years on his contract. Typically, when we see a star player demand a trade, he's either got a year or maybe slightly over a year. And so his leverage is greater. Durant doesn't have leverage. But Hannah, as you saw what Bobby said there and the complexities of this trade, as midnight arrived last night and we're talking to executives, it looks like this is probably headed for a 3-team minimum deal. Because Durant, if he is focused on Phoenix, the Phoenix-Brooklyn match isn't perfect. The trade just isn't perfect. And so what may now happen over the next few days is Phoenix looking to see what they can use and maybe Brooklyn looking to see what they can use they get from Phoenix to expand this deal. And that could create a widening, spreading effect that could actually freeze business for a while as a number of teams try to get in and potentially other star players. And I think one of the things that's important here is the Suns have all of their draft picks going forward, which means they can trade up to 4 first-round picks and up to 3 pick swaps, 7-year control of their draft. And I think that's going to be on the table.
Yeah, I mean, how many teams can say that in the NBA, period?
And so maybe Brooklyn,
especially among contending teams.
Maybe Brooklyn doesn't want that. Maybe they're interested in something else, but maybe another team does.
Right.
And so you take that and go shopping with that. Now you may be cooking. And so, you know, this last time we saw something crazy like this was when Kawhi Leonard and Paul George got together to go to the Clippers. And that ended up affecting teams all around the league, and league business was frozen for 3 or 4 days leading into the July 4th holiday. I'm afraid to say for all of us, we could be headed for that again.
And the thing
so
that's
cancel your barbecue is all I'm saying. But yes.
And the thing that's very instructive, I think, about the Kawhi Leonard situation, not only was there a pause for a few days, but think about how that came together, right? Kawhi Leonard goes to the Clippers and says, I would like to play for the Clippers as a free agent, but I want to play with Paul George. And so the Clippers then go to the Thunder and say, we would like to get Paul George. How do we do that? And they end up trading.
The Thunder's phone just rang. They're
That's
like,
right.
well, hello? Yeah. And that's what could be happening right now. The phones are ringing.
And to Brian's point, the Clippers alone didn't have what it took to get to Kawhi Leonard. But they had the pieces to go get what it took to then have him want to play there, right? And I think when you look at what the Nets are doing here, and potentially anyway, it's, hey, Phoenix has all their picks. They have Mikal Bridges. They have DeAndre to put in a sign and trade. They have Cam Johnson. They have all this stuff that you would want to have in a star trade. But if they don't have necessarily exactly what the Nets want, with all those picks and all that ammo, they could go get it and then get it to the Nets. So I think that is how this could maybe play out.
And just to remind everybody, the Nets don't have their picks because they sent those to Houston to get James Harden, who's now in Philly. Yay. Here's where we go. One great move after another. So how much will the team actually accommodate KD at this point?
You'd like to think, Hannah, that because he came in the fashion that he did as trying to be a partner up top on the ownership level, they're going to try to help him a little. But that is the biggest question to me.
They need assets.
Right. They need everything they can get, but they also want to be this reminder for the rest of the league, hey, when stars want to come here, hopefully down the line, we can be a place for them. And they don't want to do Kevin too wrong, especially because Kyrie can go anywhere he wants. Kevin has always had a pretty solid relationship up top. I'd be surprised if they tried to put him somewhere he didn't want to be.
All right, Bobby Marks standing by. Bobby, you hear what's happening here at the desk. What's your reaction?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. I mean, I think he has a no-trade clause, but it's not like Brooklyn's going to send him to Sacramento, let's say, for a package of players here, because you want to get the most value out of Durant and also get him to the place that he wants to go to. Certainly, if Phoenix doesn't have the right offer, then it maybe is a Toronto. I think that would be kind of the ideal spot if it's not Phoenix, because I think Durant certainly would go there, where Kyrie is a little bit of a different situation. You're just looking to get whatever you can for Kyrie Irving compared to what you're going through with Durant right now.
Bobby, this is the thing about Toronto and just any of these teams with young stars. Kevin Durant is 34, even though he's top of the league. Do you trade a 34-year-old for the 20-year-old rookie of the year? And any of these other, any of these other super young star players. I mean, that's a balance for some of these teams too.
Well, but here's the thing, though. You get him for 4 years. This is not Kawhi Leonard on a 1-year contract. You get him for 4 years.
Yeah, but do I want Scotty Barnes at 23 where I have Kevin Durant at 37? I mean, I don't think that's just a no-brainer for some of these teams.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on if you want to win a championship right now or if you want to wait 3 or 4 years.
There you go. There you go. If he's the final piece to your championship puzzle, obviously you're going to move heaven and earth to make that happen. But one of the teams that Bobby had on there was New Orleans, and I'm thinking about Zion and Sean Marks saying, "Well, I want players who are available." Right? Didn't we just go down this road of unavailability? That seems to be a
Hannah,
far-fetched.
You made a great
notion.
point just there. 5 stars, because the Sean Marks at the end of the season had this press conference where he laid out what they wanted. As teams call, he gave them the blueprint. He says he wants team first players, he wants selfless guys, and he wants guys who are available. So look for guys who fit that bill. And by the way, the Suns have some of those guys. They just don't have a star necessarily that they're willing to trade.
Well, and I think the Zion point's an interesting point too. To go back to another seismic trade like this is when Shaquille O'Neal was traded from the Los Angeles Lakers to Miami Heat in 2004, right? Back then, Dwayne Wade was coming off his rookie year, looked like a potential star. So when Shaq wanted to go there, the Lakers called and said, "Hey, we would like Dwayne Wade for Shaq," and the Heat hung up the phone. And then the Lakers called back again and say, "Well, what about Lamar Odom?" Now, the Heat had spent years trying to get Lamar Odom, but they knew that to get Shaq, they had to give up something. And so they ended up making Lamar Odom the centerpiece of a trade with him and Caron Butler and then draft compensation, right? And I think when the Nets go to these teams and say, "Hey, we would like Zion Williamson," to your point, the Pelicans want to win a championship. They're going to want Zion Williamson with KD.
You're not going to give away a piece to that.
That's
Why would you bring KD in?
So then you come
right?
down to what are the secondary pieces, where it's Mikal Bridges, where it's Brandon Ingram in New Orleans, right? That's where this kind of deal happens. Those secondary pieces and draft picks, that's the way these trades get built.
I think to get a star player, then it's going to take a third team. If they're willing to settle for heavy draft compensation, they could maybe do a direct deal with New Orleans.